Yeah, what's up, my peoples? It's Jay Cuttz, SalvaEcua. I'm out here with my bro from Ayaan CDL Institute.
We out here. Thank you for having me again. It's a pleasure. I love being here. I love talking about education. Love, helping people. Definitely, when it comes to CDL, trucking, or even driving that industry, I got you. Anything you need with that industry, I'm your man. You could always count on me for that.
Exactly. That's what it is, man. So we're out here. As you can see, I have on my safety vest, right? We can speak about the importance of a safety vest first before we start with the whole entire show. So how do you feel about that, the importance of a safety vest?
Well, a safety vest is very important. There's actually a lot of facilities, especially in JFK, where you're not allowed to enter without a safety vest. And also, some places you need a safety vest appointment. So you got to follow the rules. Every place is different. It's not going to be the same as what it was last week. Maybe last week the man wasn't there, but this week the man is there and he's checking everybody and he's making sure everybody got their safety vest. And the color, it shows at night, it shows in dark areas. Once the headlights flash at it, it actually lights up even more. So you get seen from very far. So the importance of a safety vest is mandatory. I think everyone should have a safety vest at all times, especially students. Today you look like the student and I look like the instructor.
Exactly. And that's the point of it. Would you go as far as to say that a safety vest can save somebody's life?
Of course, definitely, because when you're in those loading docks, those forklifts sometimes turn very fast and it's very hard to see. So once you're wearing a safety vest, they turn that corner, you're the first thing that they're gonna see.
Exactly.
From far, especially because of the reflectives. That makes the difference right there. Those reflectors, it could be seen from about like 1,000 feet away.
All right. That's what it is. And yeah, those forklifts are very small vehicles, but they're very heavy and strong. And it could be dangerous. Just because they got a smaller size, it's not a tractor trailer, it doesn't mean it can't severely hurt somebody.
Well, yeah, those are the things that loads up the trucks and trailers. So whatever is in there got brought in and out with a forklift. And if not a forklift, if it's under a certain amount of weight, then you can use those pallet jacks or electric pallet jacks. Either way, you always want to be seen. And if you're not seen at any given moment, especially on the highways, that is a problem. That can save a life. And especially when you're working and doing your delivery, since you're always in and out constantly, you want to be the brightest. You want to be seen. You want to make sure everybody sees you and everybody knows that you're there. And if not, one day someone's not going to see you and it might end up bad.
I got you, bro. And it's true, man. A lot of things that you hear from instructors and from people that are professionals in this industry, take it into account, and be thoughtful and mindful of it, because these people can be saving your lives by telling you something like this, even if people don't want to hear it, because sometimes people have this thing about, oh, I know it all, I don't need nobody to tell me nothing. Not in this world. In this world, we have to humble ourselves to the fact that information is out here, and if somebody is here to bless us with that, we should be humble enough to accept it.
And not only safety vest, I'm really big on uniforms in general. I was always into uniforms, even going to school. And I think it helps when everyone in the work area looks alike, because in trucking, I learned it the hard way. On my first day, on my first job, I went in there looking all fresh. I had a fresh Nike tracksuit on, a gray color one. Once I sat inside the driver's seat, the seat looked clean to me. I don't know how, I didn't notice that little grease mark on the seat. One of the mechanics was fixing it the hour before I got there. Once I jumped in to move up the truck, I jumped out and I just felt it. you just feel something like like that grease thing when you're getting out the chair of the truck. And I just felt it, and I just looked down and I seen a big smear. I was so upset, and I thought my employer was gonna pay for it. That's another funny one. I really thought he was gonna pay for it. But of course, he told me that in trucking, you have to get down and dirty. He asked me, why'd you come in looking so fresh when you're about to operate this big rig? You gotta come in ready to get dirty. So ruining a $180 tracksuit, that was my lesson learned. So don't learn it the hard way. You rather take the advice now and know what to do. Once you get down there, you'll be prepared. Definitely don't go in there with sneakers. You gotta wear the right boots. It has to be steel toe boots, not just any boots. Why? Because that can also save your toes and your foot. In case anytime a forklift runs over it or a tire, if you have those steel toe boots and you have that yellow vest on, now you're gonna be seen, and if anything did run over your foot is saved.
Exactly. Yeah, it's true. Some of the heavy cargo too, and those flatbeds can also roll over, and that could be a problem,
Yeah, so especially when you're going OTR, if you're in the truck, yeah, you could take it off and you could get comfortable. You could wear lighter sneakers if you want. But once you're getting out of the truck, you gotta be prepared. And even if it's a hot summer day, you still have to wear your steel toe boots. Unless you can find some steel toe sneakers. But if you're gonna wear some Jordans, number one, you're gonna mess them up. And number two, if anything runs over your foot, you lost your foot and your Jordans.
I got you. Like those guys on flip-flops that be in those tractor trailers. I hear a lot of comments about that. How do you feel about that real quick before we move into the script,
Well, DMV doesn't even allow that for testing. You can't test with open-toe sandals. You gotta have, a closed sneaker, something that, you can tie or you can strap, but it has to be a full shoe. So it could be boots, it could be even, you can go to sneakers. But like I said, when it comes to trucking, you should always stick to the steel toe boots. That's what I always recommend. In trucking, steel toe boots and the yellow vest are definitely a must. Everything else is just extra and it's not needed.
I got you. Well, you heard that here first, my people, from the instructor of the instructors, speaking the truth out here to save lives and to allow the country of America to keep going, of course, So for the first question from the script from this particular show, I wanted to ask you, how did you become an instructor, and what is the application and the requirements to be an instructor?
So to become an instructor in New York State, first you gotta have your license for 2 years. Once you have your license for 2 years, you also gotta have your high school diploma or GED, and you have to be age 21 or more. So if you just got your license, you can't become an instructor. You could become what's also known as an escort. An escort allows you to bring people down to the road test and also from the road test. And the escorts just have to have their license. As long as you have a photo license, you could become an escort, and you only have to be age of 18, which is pretty cool. You just drive them back and forth from the road test. It's pretty simple and easy. That's how actually I started when I became an instructor. Before becoming an instructor, I was an escort from age 18 to 21 because I couldn't take the test because I wasn't 21 yet. And at that point, I was just bringing people to and from the road test, And that's what motivated me to get to the next level. And the reason why I even became an escort was one day I was just in the office and I was just tired of people calling out. The drivers, the other escorts, and the other instructors, they would call out, and I would feel bad for the student that has to take the road test. And it would be for car, motorcycle, or truck. And I'll feel so bad that they can't take their road test today. And I'll just, now, I'll just be like, yo, let's go. I'm going to take you myself. So that's what led it to become in the first place. If it wasn't for helping people, I don't think I would have came this far either. It just, from one thing, it led to another. And I just kept wanting to be out there more and more. And that's when, I read the requirements. I was 18 years old. I read the requirements. It said you needed your high school diploma. I didn't have it yet. So I was like, about to drop out. And I was like, nah, I can't drop out. I got to go back and finish this. So luckily, I went back and, I got my things together. I was like, I can't just sit in the office all day. I got to be out there helping these people take their road test. And from there, it was just a beautiful thing. After I finished high school, I still continued to bring people to and from the car and motorcycle road test. And people just kept hyping me up and telling me I could do more. And that's when I was like, you know what? When I'm 21, I'm going to become an instructor, and I'm going to be the best instructor in the world. I'm going to know all the guidelines, all the rules. And it's very simple. You just got to have your license for 2 years, have your high school diploma or GED, fill out the application, make sure you don't have no parking tickets. You can't have more than 6 points. Other than that, you fill out the application, which is the MV 523, and it has to be sponsored by a registered driving school. So you would have to, go to a school and seek for employment before anything. Once you find someone who's willing to give you that opportunity, that's when he'll ask you for those documents and send you down to go take that written test. After the written test, that's not it. You still got to take the road test again.
Oh, yeah?
But this time as an instructor, which is much harder. It's not the same thing as, like in the CDL, the students have a very hard time remembering the engine. When you go to the instructor test, they want to know how you're going to teach the student the engine, where you're going to start, how you're going to finish. And you got to do this in front of the same DMV examiner who does the actual road tests on a daily basis. So they know what to look for, and they're not going to just pass anybody. They make sure that you're qualified. And even in that 100-question written test, it's not an easy test. If you don't read the manual, you're not going to pass. So it's easy. Anyone can do it. I definitely recommend it for people who like to talk, who like to help, who like to stay local. I definitely recommend it for them. But you got to have the passion. A lot of people, they don't have that passion. They're a good instructor, but they don't have the passion for teaching. And that's what makes the difference. So you could be an instructor, but if no students want you, then you're not going to get any work. You're going to have to look for another job. So a lot of drivers that try to become instructors, it doesn't really work out for them because sometimes those bad habits that they have, it doesn't work for the DMV road test. And if it doesn't work and the students keep failing, then there's a problem.
I got you. Well, as if CDL drivers weren't held to the highest standard already, being an instructor already takes it up a notch, and you're held to an even higher standard than the normal. And that says a lot about what you had to go through to get to the position that you're at now, and it's an honorable thing, of course, because this is an essential job. in the world, right, of business and of humanity. And without people like you, there wouldn't be that circle of life, right, to transport these resources right across the country and the world, of course. For the next question, I wanted to ask, how long did you have your license before actually getting your CDL?
So I got my license at age 16. I didn't get my CDL until age 21. So once I became an instructor, I did that on my 21st birthday. I applied for the instructor exam, and it was the most proudest moment of my life. And then from there, I promised myself every birthday I'm gonna get another license until I get everything that I want. Before my next birthday, I was already working on the CDL. I was already studying. I initiated it when I was 21. I actually got my license on my 22nd birthday, which was another proud moment of my life. And then I just promised myself again that every year I'll just keep doing it and keep getting another one. So the year when I was 22, at that year I got my CDL, but it was the Class B. So at 22, I got my Class B, and I then needed experience. And another thing in trucking, a lot of people, they don't want to do the time. They just want to get the license and expect to get top dollar. You got to prove yourself in this industry. You got to prove it to the employer that you're going to take care of that truck and you're going to do what it takes to get the job done. So at age 22, I just got my CDL, and at that age, I was making a very big turn of my life, and thank God I did it. And that CDL, it helped me because right after that, I became a school bus driver. And as everyone knows, school bus drivers get drug tested, and it's very random. So of course I didn't want to mess it up, so I had to switch my whole life around. And thank God I did it. Thank God. That was like the best time of my life once I got my instructor license, and then the next year after I secured my Class B. And then after that, I just kept taking other courses in between every birthday. And I think that's what everyone should do. You should set a goal for yourself and set a time limit, a date, a time, and just that time is coming, so you got to get yourself prepared, and once you push yourself like that, I believe you can achieve anything you want.
Exactly. I would say that's what actually got you to where you're at today. That mindset of, having these dreams and these goals and just, going at it nonstop, just achieving one and then going to the next one. And I think it's a very effective way to look at life, and you are proof of that. So of course the people out there are hearing it, take that into account, because a lot of us don't take things in a serious way until we see that we have to, but it's better to take it in a serious way before you have to, right? Because then you're ahead of time, of course. For the next question, I want to ask you, how did you buy your first truck? Because I know you got a couple of them, and that's very impressive, because trucks are expensive, man. Freightliner, or to buy Peterbilt and stuff like that. That's a dream of mine, So how did that feel? How did it go for you?
Well, let me take my hat off for this one, because this one's a long story. It's a very long story, and it actually happened during the pandemic. So around 2020, I just had opened my business, and I was still a school bus driver at that time. I was never going to give up school busing. I loved it, and over the years, you get your seniority, and you get better runs. So once I was that many years in, I had a great run, so I could have did my morning run and opened my business way ahead of time, stayed in my business for the majority of the time, and then in the afternoon just go back and do my run again. So 4 months before the pandemic, I had just opened up the business. And from there, once the pandemic hit in 2020, around March, everyone had to shut down, including me. So I was scared, I was nervous. I was on the verge of losing the business because I just started. So just when it was getting hot, it started crumbling right apart. So at that time, I was just counting my blessings, of course. And in the beginning, the bus company was still sending the checks every week. So I was good. But then the checks stopped coming. They sent a letter saying that, the state is not going to fund us anymore, and we're going to have to lay you off, and you're going to have to collect unemployment. But I didn't collect unemployment right away. I was one of those righteous people that was always against collecting unemployment, getting EBT, getting any type of help from the government. Because I always thought that when you collect unemployment or get EBT, I thought that follows you forever and it stays on a record, and people would see it down the line when you're trying to buy a house or opening up a business or trying to get a loan for another truck. So I thought that, that was the case. So for the first 6 months, I didn't collect. And I was struggling. I was, scrambling, of course. And my mind was running. And as my mind was running, buying a truck was one of them. I was thinking, since the truckers are out, I could just go get a job. So I started applying at so many different companies. And of course, it was the pandemic, so everything took a lot longer. So 6 months in, I was like, this is enough. I need to do it because, I got a whole family I got to take care of. So I decided to apply. Within the 6 months, I called them a lot of times, to try to get the inside scoop and the 411. But they didn't pick up, and it was long waiting lines. So after 6 months, I was like, you know what? Let me just go online and do it. Everyone told me to do it within 6 months. They were like, just do it, just do it. You need it. You're not working. So then from there, once I did it, they gave me the back pay for 6 months. I didn't expect that either.
I heard that was happening, yeah.
I didn't expect that either.
I should have applied too. I felt like I lost the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. And then when that came into the account, I was like, whoa. Then I sat down, pulled out the books. Of course, me and my wife, we started running, all the dreams on a list and seeing which one fits. And I started shopping for trucks online on eBay, Craigslist. And then that's when I saw an ad from Ryder, the leasing company.
Yeah.
So they lease you the brand new trucks, but then after the lease is up, they usually either try to lease it again for another term. But then after 8 years, they're basically selling all these trucks for dirt cheap.
Exactly.
So I seen that on the website and it fit within the budget. And I was like, you know what? It's on, it's time, And I just went down to Farmingdale. I'll never forget it. I went there cash in hand and I just cashed out on one tractor, brought that to my parking lot behind the office. And that's when the magic started. Because the moment I pulled in, for some reason, I don't know how, 3 people signed up right there and then. It was 4 p.m. I pulled in. Between 4 and 5, we signed up 3 people for tractor trailer. And they all paid in full. And I was just like, whoa, this is really happening, And it just motivated me to keep pushing and get the truck ready right away. Because now I got students who just signed up. I was tired of using other people's trucks. And I was like, you know what? It's time for me to just do my own thing. And that's when I just started putting the letters on, put that double brake in there. got the trailer. It was a long way, but it got done, and I was responsible with all that money that I got from unemployment. And luckily it worked out, because CDL, tractor trailer, it's always been in. It's a thing that never died.
I got you. It's an essential job. Like the job that I was doing at that time, it was DoorDash. I should have applied. In the beginning, they had a lot of money, but then it started dying out because people that got fired just ran into that. And then I was trying to tell like these people in the company, like, hey, I've been here since day one. These people just showed up. How are you gonna let them have the same rewards as me? But it's all right, stuff happens, and that's why you have to build your life up and actually get a job where that one happened. And this is where the trucks start to make sense, you know, when people want financial stability and stuff like that, because it's not something that could be taken away that easily, because it's a specialty job. It takes a special amount of skill and of balls to even be involved in that. You know, this next question I wanted to ask is, have you ever tried interstate rides, OTR, traveling state to state? And if you did, how was that for you?
Yes. So another thing, the beauty of driving a school bus, you always have your Saturday, Sundays. So on my Saturday, Sundays, I would accept trips. I did a trip to Canada, and luckily, you know, before going there, of course, I read all the rules and guidelines, because you got to know what to expect, because you're now crossing state lines. And you got to know which wait stations to go to. There's a lot of things involved in trucking. So my first load to Canada, I took my passport, but I had an enhanced driver license since it first came out when I was like 20 years old. Enhanced driver license first came out, and I got it. It's the one with the American flag on your driver's license.
All right.
And it says enhanced on your driver's license. And if not, you'll get the one that says not for federal purpose, or you'll get the star ID. So there's three types. There's not for federal purpose, the star ID, and also your enhanced. So I got the enhanced since then, and I always wanted to use it, and that day I used it, and it felt good too, because I just handed them the license, registration, and insurance, and it was just like a 1, 2, 3 thing.
I got you.
I didn't have to show my passport, you know, which, you know, I didn't need a visa to cross. Everything was, you could cross into Canada, Mexico, and, you know, of course, the surrounding islands owned by U.S. So it's a very good thing to get. You know, if you're ever getting into trucking, make sure apply for your enhanced after you get after the road test, pretty much.
Yeah, that's like a passport on a license practically, right? Because like you said, you don't need your passport, you just show that, and you're good. And I didn't even know that, so I appreciate you for teaching me that. And this is an example. You see, that's why we need these teachers out here to lead us down this road of life, because we have to be accepting of the fact that we don't know it all, and that we're here to help each other, of course, right? As a community, as a people, as one, you know? The next question that I wanted to ask was something that I've been starting to look into a lot, because the possibility of me working in that particular type of job. My dad said he wanted to also do this, and I want to talk about the Hazmat Tankers. What's your thoughts on the possibility of explosion on Hazmat Tankers and Hazmat in general? Because I know that that's not the only type of freight that can cause that situation.
So when you're dealing with Hazmat, now you have to be better than everybody. So getting your CDL, you're on level 10. So you can't compare yourself to the people who's on level 1, which is the regular Class D drivers. When you're on level 10, you have certain responsibilities. When you're an instructor, then you're another level up. You're on level 11. But when you're doing Hazmat, that's like big dogs. That's like level 15. That you have to be on point. You have to know how to use tablets. You have to know how to shift gears. You got to know the ins and outs of everything. And that one, not only, you know, there's technical things that you have to do, but there's physical things that you have to do.
When you get to the gas stations, you're right, they take out that hose and they put it inside of the tank underneath of the gas station to fuel it up.
Yeah, and it's not easy. And even getting into the station and getting out of the station, it's not easy because some stations are very busy and it's very crowded. It's not enough room in there either. So you got to be smart. You got to line up your truck from the get. Because if you line up your truck improperly, then you're not going to be able to reach with the hoses. So you got to make sure not only you got to follow all the guidelines, but you got to look at your surroundings. You got to make sure nobody's smoking in the area. And if they are, you got to have the heart to go and tell them, hey, you got to cross the street, sir, because I'm fueling up right here. A lot of people don't have the heart to go up to people and tell them the situation. They'll just let them be.
Especially in bad areas, like there's some gas stations in LA or here in New York City that are in horrible areas, and it'll almost be like an inconvenience to go and talk to somebody that might even wild out,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. It's easy to lose your cool, and a lot of people, they by accident mix diesel in the gas lines.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah, and that is an automatic termination.
Of course, that's a fire hazard too, right?
Yeah, and it costs a lot of money to draw that gas back out, clean it, and in any vehicle that's damaged, they have to replace all those vehicles.
Wow.
Yep. So if you chose the right one, a lot of people, they'll go to the pump and they'll choose diesel by accident. But if you chose the right one, you chose gas and diesel started pouring out, now that gas company owes you a new engine, or their insurance actually.
Exactly. I didn't think about it like that. You're actually breaking it down in a very fine way,
Yeah, and now imagine in a gas station, people fuel up within an hour, you'll get like 100 people fueling up there. Now, if some driver didn't do what he was supposed to do and loaded up diesel inside of a gasoline tank, now those 100 vehicles all have to be replaced. So definitely, with hazmat, you definitely got to be more careful. And if you don't like hard work, it's not for you, because that right there is very hard work, and it's a lot of technicalities in there and physical.
I got you. You seen those, before I go to the next one, because we gotta, get this going. You seen those videos of the hazmat tankers when they fall down to the side by accident? I believe the story behind this was that the driver got a seizure or something and he couldn't drive, so it fell down to the side, and the explosion is like a bomb. And when I looked at that, I'm just like, wow, the risk that these people take to do essential jobs in society, things that, again, I don't think the average person would have the heart. You have to be a very special human being, right, to get in those tankers,
Yeah, tankers in general, because not only tankers with gasoline, but, tankers with anything. Tankers are, just a vehicle that you have to be triple careful with, because you got to have extra stopping distance, especially if you're loaded. Extra stopping distance. You can't turn, too fast, or else you will tip over.
The fluid, I heard there's a science behind it. There's chambers that separate the fluids in order for it to have balance, because if you just come to a complete stop without any chambers to separate the fluid, the wave is just going to slap the truck and tip it over, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, not all tankers have separation walls in them. Some tankers are just all diesel, and some tankers, they have 3 different types of gas, 3 compartments. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. You just gotta, like I said, the surge charge from the water, because once it slaps you, it's a hard slap and you can feel it.
That's the thing I was saying though, like they say that they separate it, because if they don't, then the slap, even tankers on boats, the slap is gonna tip it over, move it, to a side that it's not supposed to move to, you know?
Yeah, they can't load it when you're loading it, because the person that's getting the actual fuel for the tanker, that guy has to load it in a certain way, and there's so many guidelines. And it's definitely true, because when you have those compartments, it actually of course it helps separate it, and I guess you'll get less surge charge.
Exactly. Let's go to the next question real quick. Oh, that was amazing, man. I appreciate you, bro. Have you heard of this controversial topic of there being a lot of serial killers in the CDL, particularly in the trucking industry, that are just rampant amongst that? I've read an article online, and it was talking about how the Federal Bureau of Investigations have launched a huge investigation on truckers because of the fact that they said that this is the perfect job for people that commit those type of crimes to do, particularly the ones that are going interstate, state to state, that some of the bodies that are found in these forests and these places are left there by these people that are doing this kind of job. And I don't think it makes the job bad as a whole. It just shows you how people will always find a way to mess things up, and it just is what it is. They do it with bikes here in New York. They were using them to rob people. Meanwhile, I'm using it to work. And when the cops stop me, they ask me like I'm supposed to know what all these guys are doing. And so it makes us look a certain way, but at least we know that we're doing our part to keep the this particular industry safe.
Yeah, well, me, I always follow what the guideline says, and the federal guidelines state any crimes that were committed more than 10 years ago, it's fair game. So if that crime was committed more than 10 years ago, you're clear to get a CDL. And as long as the crime wasn't violent, then you're pretty clear to get a CDL. So of course you're gonna have those people who criticize on that, and of course they don't appreciate it at all, but it's fair game. It's just like immigrants getting their CDL. They come to this country for a better life, and people criticize that all the time. But if the federal guidelines allow them to get a CDL, I don't see why not. Now, of course, if there's more crimes being committed, then he's gonna lose his CDL. You can't get away forever. In CDL, it's federal, so it's all across the country, and you have multiple agencies after you. It's only a matter of time before you get caught up. So with CDL, you always gotta be on point. And for people who come out of jail and like serial killers or whatever you did, if you want to change your life, I think CDL is the only way to go. There's a lot of sanitation workers out there. There's a lot of OTR drivers out there that have criminal records, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think the CDL actually helps them stay out of trouble.
And they say an idle mind is the devil's playground. So as long as they're staying busy, it helps them, of course, like you said, stay out of trouble, of course, And you know what? It's a crazy world. At the end of the day, we don't have all the answers, but we just have to be accepting of the fact that we know what we know, and we're here to move forward, of course, because that's a hell of a topic right there that I'm talking about. Not all people will ask you that. They'll probably be a little intimidated. I haven't seen it, but there was a guy that taught me how to drive. Not taught me, he was going to teach me how to drive the box trucks. I had a bad experience with him. He kind of made a threat towards my life. So that's when I kind of seen that type of serial killer shit in there. But other than that, I'm good. Anyway, any crazy situations that you ran into as a driver as far as trucks,
Like, did I see anything crazy, or me myself?
It's on you, bro. Any crazy situations that you had as a truck driver in general?
Well, in trucking, like I said, you got to count your blessings every day, because that thing is big and there's a lot of weight in there. So you got to be very careful at all times. And as far as crazy, I've seen, not crazy, but I've seen people doing crazy stuff and going places where they're not supposed to, where it says clearly no trucks. So things like parkways, everyone knows trucks can't go on parkways. So every time I see a truck on the Grand Central, that's crazy,
Right.
That's crazy. And, trucks even on Instagram, I've seen a lot of videos where, truckers try to use that vehicle as an escape vehicle. That thing is too big for something like that. And some people try to run away and flee the scene with a big truck. And of course, they get caught eventually. So as far as crazy, me, myself, I never did nothing crazy because, of course, I respect the truck. You got to respect it. Just like a motorcycle, you got to respect the bike. And trucks, you definitely got to respect the truck.
Exactly. And they'll respect you back.
Definitely.
True. For the next question, I wanted to ask, what's so federal about a CDL, about that license? Because I heard you say that before, it's federal. And I didn't take it into account as much until I heard you say that.
So federal guidelines pretty much means that it's the same rules in every single state. So every state, of course, has their own city rules. But the state guidelines is pretty much the same everywhere. So when you're getting a CDL, when you're following the federal guidelines, there's always a minimum and a maximum. So as long as you're following those guidelines, you should be good. Meaning, if you got incarcerated, you just came home, depending on the type of crime and depending on when the crime was and how long ago it was, you can get a CDL thanks to the federal guidelines. So the federal guidelines, of course, it's to be followed and you have to take it seriously. And there's updates every time. And when they update, you got to make the changes. Long time ago, it was hand log books. But then, of course, people were just writing whatever they want. And now they have electronic log books. These things save lives. So thank God for those federal guidelines that came into place. And now we don't have people sniffing coke and driving all night. We don't have people drinking and driving and taking the rig across state lines.
I got you. Like back in the day, they said like people in the South, like not all of them, but some truckers will smoke meth to stay up, and they'll drive state to state. I gotta go get this freight, Frank, but he'll be smoking this meth, And again, you have to regulate that because people's lives are on the line. The day of tomorrow could be somebody we love on those roads, and this guy is abusing his authority, right? For the next question, tell me about your story and how it all started.
So, it all started pretty much from the office. And, of course, it was a regular day. And from there, my boy just kept coming and telling me to do it. And I just wanted to change because at that time of my life, I was in a bad situation. And, of course, I had a lot of fun because it was a lot of fun that time. A lot of going out. A lot of hanging out. And of course, I needed a change. I wanted to be different. I was hanging out with too many people that didn't follow any rules. And I wanted to separate myself and be different. And thank God, because that time, if you look at pictures of me before I got my CDL and pictures of me now, you can tell I'm the man now. And anyone who gets their CDL and they put it to use, they know how to multitask. They're, thinking. They're always on the move, and they could get down and dirty. Those are the people you want to be around all the time. And of course, very positive people too. Unlike other industries that are just cutthroat. Trucking is similar to bike life. Now it's truck life, and it's very similar because everyone in bike life and everyone in truck life, it's all about respect. It's all about knowledge, and that's the beauty of it. Definitely bike life and truck life all day.
I got you, man. I'm on the same page, man. I was a biker years before I got into trucks, and I would say that kind of got me into that because I kind of realized, and I'm like, if I start trucking, then I can probably sustain this bike passion, which can be very expensive, a lot easier, and still take care of the things that I gotta take care of. For the next question, I wanted to ask, were you afraid or intimidated by driving such large vehicles when you first began?
Honestly, that feeling never left. Because even today morning, when I was doing my pre-trip, I was looking at that truck and the height was 13.6. So I was looking up there and I was like, wow, I can't believe I'm in this game, Can't believe it's another day. And I feel blessed. And that feeling, it never went away. And I thought, other people told me that, once you get into this, you're not gonna even do your pre-trip no more. You get those stereotypical things. And of course, I wanted to be different. So every day I go, I do my pre-trip, and I look at that truck, and I thank God, and I'm very blessed to be here another day, and I'm not on the streets anymore. So it's a blessing feeling, and that feeling never went away. And it's kind of like a nerve-wracking feeling. So like once I start driving, sometimes I still get the sweaty palms. Sometimes I still get the, heart race. I still get all of those feelings, and I still feel like it's day one. And it's been so long already. Even when I'm driving a school bus, it still feels like day one. I still feel like I'm in day one. And that feeling, I think it's a good feeling to have, because once you get too comfortable, those are the people who go through those overpasses with confidence and take the top off the truck. And that's not cool.
It's like you open up a can, like a can opener.
You're taking the top off the Maybach.
I got you. I did research on what you were saying, and you're right about that. That's what they said when I did research, because I was doing research on the safest way to avoid this feeling, because I felt that too those times that I had to drive. Not in your school. In your school, I felt very comfortable for some reason. I felt good actually that day. But yeah, when you get too comfortable, unfortunately, stuff can hit the fan because you're just naive to the realities of life, of course. The next question is, how did you start your own school with trucks and buses and stuff like that,
So, real quick, I was a school bus driver, and in between, I was studying, taking exams, and when I had some free time, I would teach people how to drive in cars. And then one day I got the opportunity to do that in a driving school that had trucks and buses. And, I'll do my morning run, then I'll go give a couple of lessons and come back. And they needed part-time people over there, so I was very grateful. I went every day, Monday to Friday, and then all Sunday. I'll take Saturdays off to, relax and get that little restart that I need. So in between the run, as I was teaching, it just, came naturally, to me, and people loved me. And then when I kept wanting to teach more and more things, remember every birthday I was getting another license. Now I got my boater's instructor's license, and I got so many other licenses, the SBDI license for school bus driver instructors. Even school bus drivers have to take refresher courses every year, 3 times a year. So, like I said, once, I kept getting all those licenses, it just pushed me to just open my own thing, because nobody wanted to keep up with me at that point.
I feel you. And you do deserve to go through with that, because you have a lot to offer. There's not too many schools that I've seen that offer all those services in one. You usually have to go to a separate place, right, for your boat license or for the jet ski. And to make it a lot easier on us, you have it all in one. You know, that's amazing, man. You know, for the next question, I just wanted to ask you real quick, what's the meaning of life and of trucking for you?
Well, trucking taught me a lot. Trucking taught me more about family, more about patience. Because in trucking, when you want to rush, it doesn't go well. And once the trucks are down, it's down. So, especially, during the pandemic, when everything was on pause for a little bit with the school busing, that gave me the patience and it got me more into family, and I love it.
That's what it is, man. I'm glad that you were able to experience that, something that people still have to learn, including myself, of course. Would you be certain that a CDL driver won't face legal prosecution as long as they follow the guidelines?
Well, it depends what you mean about following the guidelines, because some people get a CDL, but then they stop doing their pre-trip. You can't put it all on the employer. Some people say, oh, it's my employer's fault. It's his truck, it's not my truck. Remember, you're the driver. It's all you at that point. You're the one getting the ticket. You're going to get 2 tickets, one for you and your employer. So you going out with a bad truck, there's no point. You'd rather just not go out because the tickets are not worth it. The time loss is not worth it. So if you're going to do it, you better do it the right way. If not, expect a lot of surprises.
I got you. So what you're basically saying is that there's almost certainty there. Not all things are guaranteed in life, but there's almost certainty that they'll be fine as long as they do what they got to do as far as the federal guidelines, the rules, and just being safe in general, not even just with trucks, but just in your life, just being mindful, about what you do.
Yeah, you got to stop being lazy and do your pre and post trip, because once you get too comfortable and you stop doing your pre and post trip, that's when things start going bad.
Got you. Well, you got my word, man. I'm gonna definitely stick to that. I'm not ending up on the news like some of these guys that didn't do their post trip or pre-inspection, and now they're crying about how in Colorado State there's 100 years now. God forbid. Have you known any truckers who faced any legal type of penalties on the job due to neglect or due to an accident?
So there was a lady. She was a school bus driver, and she got very comfortable. She stopped doing her pre-trip. And then every bus has a parkway permit. So her parkway permit expired 6 months ago. And I guess she thought that the boss renewed it, because that day when she got that big ticket, she went to the boss and she was like, hey, I got this ticket. You renewed it, right? And he was like, yeah, I think it's somewhere around here. And come to find out, when she went to court, they figured out that there was no parkway permit for that specific vehicle. Every specific bus has to have their own parkway permit. If you're going to use the parkway, you need a parkway permit from DOT. It's a little decal that looks like a rectangle. It's always in the back of the bus, the back glass. And if you don't see that, that means your bus doesn't have one. So since she got too comfortable and stopped doing her pre and post trip, luckily she didn't leave no kids sleeping in the bus, right?
Thank God.
Yeah, it could have been way worse. But she got pulled over on the parkway, and they slammed her with a lot of tickets for being on the parkway without a permit. And there was a bus fully loaded with kids.
Wow. So that's even more of a problem, because if, God forbid, something happened in that area, oh my gosh, you would be done, right?
Yeah, they have to put the bus out of service at that point. They're going to have to come with another bus with an actual parkway permit and transport those people out of there.
Exactly. We don't have that much time, bro, but I got one more question for you. And what do you say about trucking being known as a dangerous job?
Well, every job has its things. Every job is difficult. So in every job, you have to work hard. Doesn't matter where you're working.
Exactly.
Even you could work in fast food and you could work hard and you can literally bust your ass. But in trucking, it's a different level. Now you're on level 10 working hard. You gotta have that ambition in you, because some people, they don't have that. Some people, it's not for them because they can't handle that type of pressure. When you're a trucker, everyone relies on you. So in the time of an accident, everyone's gonna be looking at the trucker, looking for guidance. And if you have a confused trucker, you got a lot of problems.
I got you. And that makes sense, man, because you got people's lives in your hands. And so that speaks volumes by itself, you know, and I'm just glad that I was even able to, you know, absorb all this information and knowledge, things that I didn't even know. And I've been speaking to you for a while. And that just goes to show like the broad knowledge in the spectrum of trucking and of CDL driving and stuff like that, you know. On a good note though, like I told you, a lot of people always thought that I was like from the East, either Indian and Pakistani, and people thought you're probably from here, from like Latin America in the West. So that's the, you know, the funny side, right, of being like brown, tan skin. People got a stereotype, but we're still all one, you know. With that being said, you know, let's sing this song. It's a song in Hindi, and it's actually one of my favorite songs. I actually enjoy it a lot, you know. So just to show the people the diversity that we have here, right, when it comes to trucks, right?
Let's get it.
Exactly. Let's go.
Diamond knee, Uncle Berso diamond knee, Unulano, Don Belito, down the jet captain, knee, Balumaro, Bon Belito, hey, I'm Escolo, Castle Benz,
That was great, man. For that's what I'm talking about, man.
Told you, man. I got you. Truckers could do anything, man. That's proof right there. We could do anything. We have the patience, the knowledge, and the motivation, man.
Exactly. It's all love, bro. If there's anything else you want to say, man, before we step out?
I just want to say, stay safe out there, everybody. Don't drink and drive. Don't drink and bike. Don't drink and boat. Don't drink and truck. You know, there's no need for you to be under any substance, especially with these holidays coming up. And even to you, you know, definitely enjoy your holidays coming up and just be safe, man. Be happy, be healthy, man. And we have a nice New Year's coming up around the corner too. You know, we just want to make every year better than the last year. So I wish, you know, everybody a happy and healthy holiday coming up. We have Thanksgiving around the corner in 2 weeks. You know, even you, happy Thanksgiving, man, in advance.
I got you, bro. It's all love. Y'all stay blessed, all right? May God bless y'all and all the truckers out here on the road that keep America going.